Hey guys, what's going on? Will here, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video, different type of video today. Gonna stay on track, I promise. Hopefully it's a very enlightening video, but it's much needed. Been thinking about it a ton with all the conversations, and again, trying to be completely transparent with everything we do in-house for those that's out there aspiring to want to breed or become breeders. Hopefully you can watch this video and gain some insight. The common conversation, ASS versus rats or Norwegian rats. I know there's teams out there, Team ASF, Team Norwegian rats. Right now, you would think that on this video we will be biased and say, oh, we're Team Norwegian rats, but not necessarily. We've never tried ASFs as far as for feeding our collection. So we really don't have an argument against ASS as far as better or worse for our animals, our snakes. Now, the approach on this video, I have never seen this approach, so I figure I will put it out there for everyone to process, analyze, and come up with different concepts on their own. Now, what are we going to talk about? Okay, well, for everyone outside of keeping, strictly keeping, you want to breed, especially new breeders like us, who want to level up, become bigger, work with bigger projects, not necessarily bigger collections, but bigger projects, and push the industry. This is going to be a really informative video. And again, we're going to do the video in the car. I'm out here at wrestling camp, football camp. We got 3 boys. It's really busy, but I figured this was a prime opportunity. We got an hour and a half to record and edit and upload on both channels. So I figured, why not? This conversation has never really been recorded and documented and put out there into the YouTube atmosphere. So I figured, why not? I've had this conversation with several other breeders as far as our approach to the way we feed. So we work hand in hand with Carolina Rodents, with our rats, Norwegians. We also breed Norwegians. So again, there's a method to our madness. We feel that we have to look at it as a clean slate on the business side. Okay, whether you like them or not, I would be really hard pressed to say that ASS harm our animals or Norwegian rats harm our animals. It's literally a preference thing when it comes to that. What do you prefer better than the other? What do you feel like gives your animal better nutrients than the other? But the one question I think that we are not looking at in inexperienced breeders or as inexperienced breeders are the number one question: are ASS legal where you are? Okay, cool. Answer that. Yep, they're legal. I'm in South Carolina. ASFs are legal. Okay, cool. Does that mean go ahead with it? No, not necessarily. Again, there has to be a method to your madness. And you ask yourself, why not? Okay, it's legal. You need to just go ahead and do it. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to mitigate your risks when you start thinking about the business ventures you go down. Therefore, you want to make sure that you don't go down a rabbit hole that is too tight for you to kind of venture down. If it's legal here, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's legal everywhere. And if I'm starting to try to get a business off the ground in a new field that we're entering in, you want to keep your customer base as wide as possible. So there's several ways you can go about that. You can check the surrounding areas, and for the most part, there are plenty of states where ASFs are legal. but there are plenty of states that ASFs are not legal. So in theory, there's a few different issues there. In the states where you have ASFs that are illegal, you're going to have a certain amount of breeders that are not going to be necessarily on the up and up, and they're going to still breed them. They're still going to, transport them across state lines. They're going to do all these things against the fish and wildlife regulations and not throwing them under the bus. I mean, they're doing what they need to do or what they feel they need to do. That being said, you may be able to still source that feeding rodent, that ASF's there, even though they are legal. But again, as a new business and trying to grow in the right direction and trying to do everything on the up and up, we felt it was in our best decision was to go Norwegian rodents, and hopefully not face any feeding issues with one specific snake here or there. Thankfully, we haven't faced any feeding issues by strictly feeding Norwegian rats and mice so far. That's not to say that we won't run into an issue here or there. We've just been lucky to not have to face the issue yet this early on in our breeding stages. So what does that do for us feeding Norwegian rats and mice? Well, Norwegian rats and mice, everywhere I've looked, are legal in all 50 states, or in all 52 states. But that basically broadens our customer base or potential customer base. We're also a new breeder, so we have to grow. We have to increase our reach, increase our clientele through social media. Not going to go down that rabbit hole, but offer animals that can be purchased and kept, hopefully, by everyone in the customer base. If, as a new breeder, I decided for Flawless that, you know what, I like ASFs better, this is another route we would have been able to venture down. I like ASFs better. I'm going to purchase or breed ASFs. I still would only feed my animals that will be available to the public, Norwegian rats and mice, even though I liked ASFs better. Reason being, if they're legal here, that means I'm not doing anything wrong. I can feed them to my collection, my choice animals that I'm deciding to hold back, grow out, breed, and keep. But also, I still don't create a funnel hole, a tight-knit group of customer base that can now only purchase my animals by only feeding them ASFs. Because however many states where it's illegal, as a entry-level breeder, expiring enthusiast, just a keeper who likes to keep high-end animals, if they're going to be doing everything on the up and up, you're literally, I don't care if you have a $4,000, $5,000, $3,000, $2,000, $500 animal, you are putting out an animal into the atmosphere of the World Wide Web, at a show, whatever it may be, but you're putting this animal out there as being available, and you're automatically cutting yourself off at the knees because you are limiting your customer base right out the gate. You're going to have that selected group of people that can't have ASFs, that can't access ASFs, or can only do it illegally. They are in that group of people where you're kind of cutting them off. Now, if they purchased your animal that was already feeding on Norwegian rats, I've yet to hear any issues of people switching these animals over from Norwegian rats and mice over to ASFs. A lot of people love ASFs. Again, this is not a video of what's better, ASFs or Norwegian rats. This is a video that's being put out there. What's smarter as a new company? Want to put a lot of emphasis on new. Okay, because this is where the game changes. We want to be transparent. As a new breeder, we do not feel that you have the convenience of being able to feed ASFs to your collection, only because you're limiting your customer base, you're limiting your reach. Can you be somewhat successful? I'm sure you can. Absolutely. There's always going to be those, outliers. But why aim to be an outlier when you can literally attack the masses with your high quality animals and it be available for everyone? Now, what are some of the exemptions? One of the exemptions are if you're already an experienced breeder, you're already well established, 10 plus years, 5+ years, you're doing your thing, you have a fan base, you have a following, your social media is going bonkers, you literally putting animals out and you can't keep animals in stock. Your inventory is always low. You roll out with new animals, you're selling them like hand over fist. Your animals are so rare, a lot of the time you're producing 1 of 10 ever created, let alone be available. These are the outliers. These are what I call the breeders. You know, these are the breeders that breeders are going to get their next level animals to, you know, level up their collection. Typically, these breeders will already be working with ASF, so they can feed a plethora of rodent choices. These are the exemptions to that. You know, I throw one out there because everyone knows it, and it's not to throw them under the bus because we look up to them. But Ozzy, our model, our business model has certain attributes from his business model in ours. Ours is different, but we take a lot of information that's out there and, you know, available to everyone and process it and make it our own. So throwing out much respect to Ozzy, but Ozzy is one of the top guys in the industry, period. I would go as far as to say every single season he's making, you know, world first. He's probably forgotten more information that I'll ever even know about ball pythons. So this video is being put out with respect to all of the big breeders, all the established breeders that's been doing this for a long time, and more so angled toward newer breeders that's wanting to do it at a decent level, as well as, you know, keepers who just want to work with, you know, some high-end, you know, ball pythons, some genetics where, you know, they're pushing their own collection forward, but they never fall into a spot where they're stuck with inventory, or you're now having, like now in these days, you know, you're wondering what's gonna bite, what, you know, is gonna sell, what are you gonna be still holding for 6 or 7 months or for a year. And some of these decisions, you know, come to mind. Yeah, you know, you have to think about it, because think about it, we're a customer to someone. A lot of the time, shoot, you can, I'm be honest with you guys, you can have the exact snake I'm looking for. I look and I see it on Morph Market and it's absolutely perfect, and then I scroll down and for me I see ASF and it's no longer for me, because even though I can source them at some point here in South Carolina, I don't want the hassle of having to now only feed that animal, because again, we never chose to feed our personal private collection ASFs. We're feeding everything Norwegian just to keep things simple. Because again, you're throwing in another parameter in there that you need to keep checks, you know, on, where you got to make sure you got enough to feed. You got to make sure you got enough breeding, or wherever you can source it from has it at a consistent basis. Not only that, you know, we plan, again, part of our business plan, we plan to buy forward, you know, produce some amazing animals, hold back some amazing animals, but continue to buy forward every year. Therefore, that means the new animals you buy this year, depending on what it is, especially a male, you know, in 3-4 years, it's going to be time for you to either have a replacement for him already breeding, or have a replacement and a backup already in the system. And now you're going to move that male that you have on to someone else that can now step forward their program and work with them. So now again, I will be faced with the issue of trying to sell an insane male that may be, you know, 3 or 4 years past his game changer status, where he's still an awesome breeder male, proven, but now as soon as I make him available, he's really not available to everyone. He's only going to be available in theory to breeders and keepers in, you know, ASF legal states, unless you want to play that game with Fish and Wildlife on keeping and breeding ASFs in places that they are not allowed. Again, this is another video where I feel people don't think about this concept of it. This is not ASFs versus Norwegian rats. This is more of a business concept for longevity. You can kind of pick and choose. Again, it's like trying to level up your business, you know, where there is Justin, you know, with Canova, Mutation Creation, or Ozzy. You know, I consider those guys, even Bob, all those guys, the upper echelon, you know, of the ball python business industry. I see them, you know, when you start looking at the dealership like the Bentley, you know, Lamborghini, you know, Ferrari of this industry, you know, and again, with all due respect to them. And that being said, they have a lot of customers that's flocking to them. They're doing the due work that's needed for them, and it's well deserved. They've paid their dues and they've been in the industry for a while. So I'm not saying that these things won't change for us over time. I don't see it changing for us for at least 10 years, easy. But it's all according to business planning and how well we can achieve certain goals within certain time frames. You know, if we're able to, by the way, subscribe, help us increase our reach. But like that, you know, we're, you know, closing in. We just crossed 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you guys. We do nothing but spread positivity. So hopefully this video is taken very well and under great light. We just want to be a little eye-opening for anyone that's thinking about, you know, getting started. Because I'll tell you one thing, on the business side, it's 10 times as hard just to grow your name and your brand out there. So imagine you do all the work that you know, felt that you needed to achieve on that side, and you grow and your brand grow, but now you're still cutting your customer base out because you have certain customers that just can't source the feeding source. So again, this was an attempt in our business plan to get in front of that potential problem, to possibly avoid issues on excluding customers from certain states, strictly because of a rodent choice we as the breeder decided to choose as a new breeder. Again, experienced breeders can feed whatever they want to a certain extent, because a lot of the time they're going to end up producing one of one animal and they're going to probably keep it for themselves, or, you know, sell it for, you know, $20,000-$30,000. And again, it's not a jab at them. They deserve all the rewards that they get from their hard work. But when you become that name that every single breeder knows, every single person, customer, or potential customer in the industry knows, then you're already on the track to achieving great things. Again, hopefully this video finds you guys doing great. Please comment down below. It's again not a video on ASFs versus Norwegians. It's just really a business, you know, approach. What do you guys think about it? Again, be nice. Put some comments out. This is not meant to be put out in a rude manner. It's extremely polite. Want you guys thinking and seeing if this is something that hits home for you guys. But anyway, it's Will, Flawless Exotic Creations, and we out.